Hollywood panics as cable TV's collapse is now seen as inevitable. In the last 3 months, cable TV lost 7% of all of their customers. 7% is an absolutely huge number. For them, it's 1.6 million subscribers. But it's just 3 months. It's shrinking like a melting ice cube. The pay TV industry includes cable, satellite, and digital alternatives like YouTube TV. A major reason cable TV is declining is the bundling of unwanted channels. Consumers get forced to pay for channels they don't watch just to watch the few channels that they might actually watch. Streaming services are offering flexibility cable can't match. And you get streaming at a much lower price. The collapse of cable TV is hurting major entertainment companies whose business models rely heavily on bundling those channels. And these major companies are now struggling to deal with a merit-based system where you actually have to produce things that people want to see. And if that wasn't enough to destroy cable TV, free streaming platforms like Pluto, Rugo TV, and Tubi are also contributing to the decline of subscription services like cable TV by offering large amounts of free content just supported by advertising. It's a technology change. New technologies do have a tendency to wipe out old technologies. We don't have video stores because we have streaming. That's how it works. Disney is also locked in a vicious battle right now with DirecTV. DirecTV insists they're not backing down. They're owned by a large finance company. The finance companies are usually very aggressive because they know the numbers they need to hit. They understand if they do the deal that Disney is asking them to do, it will ruin DirecTV and all the value of their investment. Coming from Breitbart, cable TV's collapse now seen as inevitable, and that's a good thing. The pay TV industry lost 1.6 million subscribers in the second quarter of 2024. Pay TV is cable and satellite TV, also known as CSTV. Those 1.6 million subscribers lost in the last 3 months in the cable industry account for 6.9% of the industry's base, 7%, a huge piece of their business. And there's no reason to think that slide is going down at all. When you're operating a business and you lose 7% of your customer base, how much net profit do you think a business actually operates with? If you take in $1 from a customer, we all know you don't get to keep the whole dollar. You have expenses. Well, you take out those expenses, 7% of loss of your customer base, which could be equivalent to 7% of your total revenue, is really potentially all your profit. The industry is really getting crushed. Industry experts Craig Moffat and Michael Nathanson write, quote, "It's becoming increasingly clear that there's no longer any floor. There's no limit to the number of subscribers that the cable industry can lose. It's the video store situation all over again." They continue from their report. As we've discussed here before, a few years ago, there was a thought that digital pay TV distributors like YouTube TV and Hulu Live would replace losses at conventional distributors, but that's no longer true. For some context, in 2019, 5 years ago, 90 million households subscribed to cable. That number is now down to about 68 million. In 6 months, a staggering 4 million households have canceled their cable. And that's net losses with however many new signups included. In another 5 years, that number is projected to be below 60 million. Everyone thought that the cable bundle could move to streaming and make up for conventional losses. What everyone didn't understand, though, was the value of a streaming service compared to the giant ripoff that's cable. With cable, you pay a fortune, and you're forced to pay that fortune for a ton of channels you never watch. And that was the deal with cable. That's what we all understood was reasonable given the technology that was available at the time. Even streaming has moved to lower subscription rates, advertising supported. And there are very successful free streaming services that are only advertising supported. Why can't cable be only advertising supported? If it's going to exist, it's going to have to exist that way. The reason you're forced to pay for channels you never watch is not the fault of your cable company. It's the fault of the greedy multinational entertainment companies that force your cable provider to accept a bunch of networks that no one wants to watch if they want 1 or 2 channels people actually do watch. For example, if your cable provider wants ABC TV and ESPN, Disney will force them to also accept basement-rated channels like the Disney Channel, Disney Junior, Lifetime, Lifetime Movies, Lifetime Women, ABC Signature, the Family Channel, and it never ends. It's called bundling, and you pay for it through your cable bill. Streaming has changed all of that. Why pay $120 per month to subscribe to a bunch of terrible channels you don't want to watch when you can spend $20 a month to subscribe to Netflix and still get a bunch of things you don't want, but get it for $100 per month less? Cable was affirmative action for these multinationals. For decades, more than 100 million households paid a fortune to these companies for things people never wanted to see. There was no merit in the business model. Streaming is all merit. You have to want the content to pay for it. That's why every streaming outlet except for Netflix has lost billions. Not enough people wanted to watch what they were making. This is why DirecTV is in what's now known as a carriage battle with Disney right now. DirecTV would like to keep its costs down and stop the losses to streaming. Greedy Disney still wants to force DirecTV to accept a bunch of networks that no one watches, which raises costs for the customer and encourages them to cancel and move on to streaming. And the thing that makes me so disappointed with Disney and so critical of Disney is that they waited just a few weeks before the renewal with DirecTV to start talking to them about making a new deal. It's a time of immense change in their industry. It's unforgivable for Disney to have just waited a few weeks to talk to a major customer like DirecTV and say, hey, let's maybe talk about doing a different deal. The deal should have been done with DirecTV and their other cable providers at the same terms as Charter if DirecTV was willing to accept them, but it should have been done when the Charter deal was done. It doesn't matter that the update wasn't due yet. It would have benefited Disney, and it would have benefited Disney's cable customers and consumers. But in the meantime, Disney had no conversations about renewing with DirecTV. They don't seem to be talking to any other cable providers right now either. And Disney got involved in this sports venture called Venu, which is basically a cable company killer. And if that's not enough, Disney acquired all of Hulu, which has Hulu Live. That's a direct competitor already. Why doesn't Disney tell DirecTV, okay, you don't have to accept the networks no one watches. Take what networks you want. Because Disney's greedy, that's why. Disney wants you to pay for garbage networks you never watch. But also because Disney has these massive fixed costs. They have tons and tons of overhead. They have people working for these cable channels, producing this content that no one wants to see. It's completely non-merit based. It's completely inefficient. The second issue killing cable is all those free streaming outlets: Pluto, Rugo TV, Tubi, and Freevee. There is so much free streaming out there: movies, TV, reality shows, home and garden shows, true crime, classic TV. Even the subscription streamers are worried about the free streamers undermining their business models. Cable TV removed merit because it removed ratings pressure. The money coming from cable dwarfed advertising revenue. There was no longer any need to create programming that pleased the customer base because the customer got stuck paying for all of it anyway. Streaming changes all of that. Suddenly pleasing the customer is a necessity. Industry experts Moffat and Nathanson also spent a lot of time talking about Disney's Venu venture. And Venu is a partnership between Disney and Fox and Warner Brothers Discovery. Why did Disney bring in partners for Venu? Could they perhaps not cover the costs of producing their own new startup like that? No, because they wanted to avoid having it look like a monopoly. But it is anti-competitive, it is monopolistic, and it's been stopped by a judge. Venu, the sports streamer, was supposed to have launched last month, but has been held up indefinitely by a federal judge. The companies behind Venu have been arguing that their bundle of channels was going to appeal to people who didn't pay for cable TV. But it seems very likely that many of their customers would be existing cable TV subscribers who were trading down from a more expensive package of channels to Venu's skinny sports package. Which means that even if Venu eventually launches, it wouldn't help the cable industry stem its losses. But Moffat and Nathanson now doubt the Venu owners are going to end up fighting the lawsuit that has tabled their launch. That's because the suit could end up blowing up the industry's long-standing practice of bundling channels together, which means that a cable TV distributor that wants to sell Disney's ESPN also has to sell Disney-owned channels like Disney or ABC or any of their weaker channels in the same package. And if that happened, things would completely collapse for the industry, because almost all of what cable is not merit-based. Last week, ESPN's boss defended the Venu package to a group of reporters and pledged that his company would keep fighting its lawsuit. But that will only be true up until the day that it isn't. DirecTV's chief content officer had this to say, quote, "These guys lied to us." Speaking about the Venu business, when you pulled back the curtain and saw what they were really doing, they just really want to disintermediate all of pay TV and drive everyone to themselves. It's horrific. And from the Wrap, DirecTV says Disney is trying to corner the market for themselves amid carriage dispute. Here's what Disney had to say. Quote, "Our priority is to reach a marketplace deal that serves the needs of DirecTV and their customers, while also recognizing the value of our top quality content and the significant investment required to create and acquire it," the executive said. "We believe there's a path to this fair and flexible agreement that strikes the critical balance and works for all sides, especially the consumer." And that generic statement has a feel to it like it was written long before they ever contacted DirecTV to try to force this deal they're forcing on them. However, DirecTV Chief Content Officer Rob Thunn pushed back against Disney's letter, calling the package proposal a half-truth and that they are actually engaging in behavior focused on cornering the market for themselves. He pointed out that the two parties have agreed to rates, but remain apart on the flexibility and the number of genre-based packages they're trying to offer. In the skinnier bundles, they were going to afford only themselves really any runway on the sports and broadcast package. And they gave us a flavor of entertainment that's laced with these minimum penetration requirements, which is ironically not what they gave to Charter, which they told us firsthand. Disney directly telling them, "This is not the deal we gave Charter, we're giving you less." Well, why are they going to accept it if it's not the same deal they're giving to other companies? He continued, "And they're not letting us participate in the kids and family package that we put on the table to them because they want to keep that for themselves, so they can sell that directly to DirecTV's customers by themselves." Disney is directly competing with their customers in multiple ways, in multiple places, all at the same time. What are their customers supposed to do? DirecTV has also argued that Disney has asked them to waive all claims that their behavior is anti-competitive and move adjudication for any future lawsuits from New York to California. And to try to force your customer through what looks like anti-competitive behavior to agree to a deal where you won't sue them for the anti-competitive behavior. And if you were to sue them for anything else, you would just do it in a jurisdiction that is very favorable to Disney in California. That's really ridiculous. Quote, "I think where we agree is that there's a vast market in between what's available to customers today with a direct consumer subscription package construct and the fat pay TV construct that we live with today," Thunn added. "We think there's a big market for us to participate in, but we need the rights to not be encumbered by these minimum penetration requirements so that we can make this available to more customers than what Disney's prescribing today. They just have to give us more flexibility in the rights they've given us, and they don't reflect what they were planning to give themselves, and that's what we're calling them out on." The cable TV industry is headed for total collapse, whether it's tomorrow, or it's 6 months from now, or it's 5 years from now. 5 years seems like a very long time when you're losing 7% of your customers over a 3-month period. 7%, 7%, 10%. How many people are going to continue to pay for cable TV when they can get a lot of the same content for free through free streaming services, not even Netflix? It doesn't look good for Disney or any of the other major companies that rely on all this revenue. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.